Happy holidays. Welcome to JoyNews Today. I'm Carlos Caloni. Our headlines this hour. Kumasi traders reignite lobby for chief of staff as NPP running mate. And government response to former President John Dramani Mahama's claim that it is not cutting down expenditure. We've got business and sports updates in this package. Do stay for details. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, government spokesperson on governance and security, Palgrave Boakye Danquah, is asking President John Dramani Mahama to appreciate the strides made by the governing New Patriotic Party in solving Ghana's economic woes. He cites projects like the One District, One Factory, medical drone delivery as hallmarks of a great government. We'll hear from Palgrave in a bit. First, let's recap flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, John Dramani Mahama, who lashed out at government for its unwillingness to cut down expenditure. This, he says, is affecting Ghana's debt situation both internally and externally.
The former president admonished fathers to continue playing their roles irrespective of the current economic situation.
That they should persevere. We're celebrating Father's Day this year in not too conducive an environment. We all know what the financial crisis and the economic crisis have caused, and so a lot of families are struggling to keep things going. I'll just ask them to keep their heads up and that there are brighter days ahead. It's an election year, they should make the right choice.
On the state of the economy, he indicated that government efforts in just focusing on revenue generation without addressing challenges of expenditure will just yield a minimal positive result.
And I'm sure that if I do emerge as president, I have the experience to do the things that will turn this economy around and make Ghanaians smile again.
You've spoken about the financial crisis and also being the president. Now, when giving the nod, we are now under the 75 IMF program. What are some of the measures you want to put in place to make sure that we don't go back, and even for successive government?
When I announced the last IMF program, I said it will be the program to end all programs, and that it was my hope that we will not go into another IMF program ever again. Unfortunately, my prophecy did not come to pass. This government made many mistakes, and we find ourselves in this crisis again. They always attribute it to COVID-19 and all that, but we could see the signals even before COVID-19. One, we need to cut down expenditure. This government is not willing to cut expenditure. In crisis, you slash expenditure and increase revenues. All they're doing is increasing revenues, but without reducing expenditure. And that's why I've said we'll cut down the size of government, we'll reduce the number of ministers. We're going to eliminate all those wasteful projects, one village, one dam, and all those things that they spend billions on, so that we can use that money in the more productive sectors to make the economy grow again.
On the Planting for Food and Jobs initiative, John Dramani Mahama said his government will expand investment in agriculture through supporting local farmers.
We'll use government's financial muscle to help indigenous Ghanaian companies. And so government will buy first from Ghanaian companies than import from outside. I think that if we do that, it will create more employment within our country. And then most importantly, we would invest in agriculture and agro-processing. We've never ever invested in the full value chain. We always give support to farmers to produce more, like Planting for Food and Jobs, Metasip. When I was there, we had the medium-term agriculture strategic investment plan. All those programs aim at the farmer to increase his production.
These policies, among others, according to the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, is key to transforming Ghana's economy in the long term, not to return to the International Monetary Fund for support. James Eshen's report for Joy News.
We can now hear from government spokesperson on governance and security, Palgrave Boakye Danquah.
Former president is misleading the Ghanaian people. And I'm surprised that for one who has been an assemblyman, who's been an MP, who's been a minister, who's been a vice president, and who's been president, is calling One Village, One Dam a wasteful project. I'm really, really, really disappointed, because people come into governance to ensure that we alleviate the plight of the people. You cannot call a social intervention project like One District, One Factory, ambulances, drones, all the projects that we have done as a wasteful project. But let me school him a little bit if he's minded. Government cuts down about 30% of our expenditure across board, or the executive government cuts down salaries as well of ministers, deputy ministers. For instance, the highest government expenditure as a percentage of GDP, reaching about 26.8%, was observed in the fiscal year of 2020-2012. In contrast, the highest expenditure to GDP ratio recorded under our government was 24.6% in 2020. And so remarkably, if you want to compare that since 2009, the lowest levels of expenditure relative to GDP have been achieved under the administration of President al-Adha, Akufo-Addo, and al-Haji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, between the figures of 19.1% in 2017, 18.9% in 2018, 19% in 2019, respectively. And so very clearly, you can see that the better management of this Ghanaian economy is none other than the new Patriotic Party under the leadership of al-Adha, Akufo-Addo, and his vice al-Haji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. So the former president does not know what he's talking about.
Now, calls for NPP flag bearer Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to choose his running mate from the Ashanti region has intensified following his recent massive response he got from the region. Now, some traders at the KJTR market are particularly pushing for the Chief of Staff, Akufo-Addo Opari, as running mate for the 2024 presidential election. Interacting with the media, the traders stated the performance as Chief of Staff is indicative of her qualities. My colleague Nana Yaojima has more in the following report.
In 2020, the Ashanti region gave the new Patriotic Party over 1.7 million votes, a major boost for the party's victory in the general election. With intensified campaigning for the 2024 election, the NPP is envisaging an increase in the party's fortunes as part of efforts to break the 8. Some traders at the KJTR market in Kumasi say the success of the party in attaining the feat is partly dependent on the choice of running mate. Leader of the group, Kwame Yeboah, speaking to the media, believes the Chief of Staff, Akufo-Addo Opari, is best fit to deepening the party's fortunes.
In times of trouble, she comes to our rescue. She has been there for the market women. Racecourse is an example. She has shown much interest in gender issues.
The traders are pleading with the NPP to endorse their choice. They tout the Chief of Staff's achievement in her present office.
We
are pleading with the NPP leadership to choose the Chief of Staff as running mate. The woman has genuinely shown love to traders.
Because
women can't be left out of politics. For that reason, we plead with you to appoint Akufo-Addo Opari as running mate.
For Joy News, Nana Yaojima, Kumasi.
The Minister for Land and Natural Resources, Samuel Abojinapo, has launched a private tree planting initiative to green his constituency and increase its vegetative cover. The initiative would witness the planting of about 32,000 trees in the Dongo township and its environs. The minister, who launched the Green Dongo campaign, said the resources for this particular project will be solely borne by the office of the MP.
Exercise will see the planting of mahogany and acacia trees in the Dongo township.
and its environs. The initiative is set to help beautify the city whilst protecting the environment. Speaking at the event, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abujinapo, said the phase 1 of the project would cover the Damango township.
Today, we come together not just as natives and residents of Damango, but as custodians of our environment, united by a shared responsibility to nurture and protect the natural environment that sustains us. The Green Damango Project is a private initiative under which we are planting trees, over 32,000 in the medians of streets and avenues of major roads in Damango to beautify our town while contributing to the fight against climate change. And I'm pleased to inform you that this project is fully financed by the Office of the Member of Parliament for Damango. We are committed to ensuring that no expenditure of public funds, not even a peswa, will be expended from the public purse in the prosecution of this private initiative. The project is currently being implemented from Kojope, that is Kojokra, to Damango, from Damango to Seiri, and at designated places within the Damango township. Phase 1 of the project will cover Damango township. Over 2,000 seedlings of savanna mahogany and cassia species will be planted along major roads in town and selected locations like the old and new markets. We aim to plan to cover other areas in town, from Military Junction to Hospital Road, from Agri College to Kasha Restaurant, from Damango Bypass to Agri College, and from Solar Highway to the Regional Coordinating Council.
He said the phase 2 of the project would cover a distance of 66 kilometers of the Kojokra road stretch.
Phase 2 of the project will plant on both sides of the Kojokra to Damango Road, covering a distance of 66 kilometers to both the left and right-hand side of traffic, totaling 132 kilometers. Phase 3 of the project will plant on both sides of the Damango to Seiri Road, covering a distance of 83 kilometers on both the left and right-hand side of traffic, totaling 166 kilometers.
The Deputy CEO of the Forestry Commission, Sule Nadia, urged the people to nurture the trees and prevent bushfires.
Planting trees is not just lowering the trees into the soil. That's why we don't call it tree planting, we call it tree growing. We need to nurture these trees. And therefore, we need to keep bushfires off from these trees and then keep off goats from the trees so that these trees can grow and flourish. So that one day we can look back and say that the minister has led this society and our community to become more greener than he met it when he came.
Today, for our Safe Water campaign, we'll tell you the story of how some residents of the Upper East Region town of Pugo are forced to depend on dirty water from streams and dugouts for their household chores and sometimes to drink. Regional correspondent Albert Sorry follows one of the residents as he goes in search of water for his family.
Pugo, a small, decent, and relatively quiet town in the Talense district of the Upper East Region. This town is famous for the defunct Pugo tomato factory and now the failed Pugo multipurpose dam project. But what many may not be aware of is how difficult it is for some of the residents of Pugo to get water for their homes. This is the Anogolayu suburb of Pugo. For the people who live here, getting water to do anything is tantamount to going on a hunt. It is approaching midday, and Wilson Abba, one of the residents here, goes in search of water for his family, accompanied by his 4-year-old daughter. Wilson had hoped that this stream
about 600 meters behind his house, would have some water. But he is not lucky today. The water that used to be here has dried up because there has been no rain for over 2 weeks. Wilson must go further in his search. Finally, he arrives at another stream a little over a kilometer away from his house. This one contains some stagnant, milky water. Not the kind of water you would imagine humans using, but for the residents in this part of Pualugu, this has become normal for them.
We drink it, we use it for cooking, we use it for a lot. If you have nothing to do about the cleanness of the water, all you can see is that it's okay. For Anugolayu area here, I don't think we have a well or borehole. Our source of water we get is mostly around the stream here. The people staying around Anugolayu area, we are many, up to 200 or 300.
The animals too come here to drink. Wilson takes the water home to his wife, who immediately uses it to wash their dishes.
A lot of people have been falling sick because it's very, very dirty and you can't drink that water. But sometimes when there is no water, you have to force and take it that way. You can get cholera from there. Stomach pains, you can get it from there. Typhoid, you can get it from there. Sometimes we do move to the police training school to fetch water there. But when you go there and the students are overcrowded there, they don't allow us to fetch water there.
Many of the residents here also create dugouts near their homes for water.
I did it personally because I believe that would serve closer to my house. Lucky enough, there was water. A day it could serve up to 100 people. But the support that will help this make it a permanent well or a permanent borehole is not there. So when it happens, so the first rain that came washed a lot of dirt into it, so that one is closed.
Assemblyman for the Pualugu electoral area, Moses Adongo, says water scarcity is a problem affecting the entire Pualugu township.
The population of Pualugu is within 5,000 to 6,000 as we speak today. And there are over 1,000 people suffering on water. Because if you go to Pugo area, they suffer with water. If you go to Akari area, towards the Balungu road, they suffer with water. 2014 that they came to make community development water. But the supply of the water isn't enough. Now that we are struggling with assembly to see if we can get a borehole.
For now, the people of Anugolayu here in Pualugu continue to depend largely on the dirty water from their streams and dugouts until an intervention arrives. Albert Sori, JoyNews, Pualugu.
Now, international direct selling company QNet is set to expand its support for children with disabilities in Ghana after a successful phase 1 of the Anopa project, which saw 14 beneficiaries qualifying for the World Deaf Swimming Championship in Brazil earlier this year. Children from 3 special schools in the central region are expected to benefit. JoyNews editor Fred Smith caught up with head of Rhythm, QNet's corporate social responsibility arm, during a recent visit to Malaysia. Here is a report.
anytime now.
The partnership between QNet and the Anopa project has been pivotal in achieving these results. QNet's support has enabled the project to reach more children, providing them with the necessary equipment, training, and opportunities to
The Accra Metropolitan Assembly, AMA, has taken a significant step towards modernizing its revenue collection with the launch of a centralized digital service and payment platform. There's more in the following report.
This new system allows rate players to make payments conveniently from their homes, shops, or any location, marking an important shift from the inefficient manual processes of the past. Mayor of Accra, Elizabeth Saki, is excited about the new system.
Today we've got into the cashless system. Why? Because when I came, I tried to do some small research from the market itself, and I realized that they weren't able to pay their revenue because people go there to collect with tickets. And then they also reported to me that having the tickets, they are not comfortable with it because they realize that when they pay to them, they put it into their pockets and there's no development in the market, and so many excuses and reasons for them not paying. So I came back, and with the management, I decided that we should go cashless.
As part of the platform's rollout, the AMA has been engaging with businesses in Okaishi, at the heart of the central business district of Accra. JoyNews has been speaking to some of these traders.
I would say the previous platform for payment was quite, difficult as compared to the current one. This time around, in the comfort of our office, we can do the payment. It's just by text message, then we follow the prompts, and we are able to do it. But my only problem with the new one is that when it gets to the check session, whereby you have to pay with a check or cash, they have a limit. The amount should be more than 3,000 before you can use the check. So when they even send you the bill and it's less than 3,000, companies like us that we have to pay with check, we can't do that. We are forced to use the mobile money or other platform before we can do the payment. So if that can be worked on, maybe reduce the limit to 2,000 or 1,000, then that will be fine for us.
I think previously they have to bring us a bill before we make payments, and now they send us a message on our phone, and I think that one is better because we are always careful using our phone. You will never get it lost. It will never get lost. With the bill, sometimes it get lost. When they are in to collect money to sometimes looking for the invoice or the receipt after payment too, you have difficulty with it sometimes because it might get lost. But with the new system, everything is on the phone for you. We can always reach out to it and show anybody who walks in to come and check whether you have paid it or not. Yeah.
Second Vice President of GUTA, Charles Jan, hailed the new platform, describing it as innovative and strategic.
We are talking about the AMA digitization, which is something that we consider very, very innovative and very, very strategic, in the sense that in the past, we encountered several problems. There were doubts of people who come around to issue receipts or to issue invoices. We are doubts with people who come around that we pay monies to. These things have been a problem for a very long time, but coming up with the digitization, it is affording us the opportunity to pay at our own time. There are no more stresses. You can pay us at when you want, but we always insist that you should pay before the period ends. At least by the last quarter of the year, you should have paid. So for us, we say it is a good innovation that all assemblies throughout Ghana should follow.
Now, the leadership of the Muslim community in the Agotime district of the Volta region has cautioned the youth of the Islamic faith not to allow themselves to be used as conduit for political violence. The Petoi Zongo chief, al-Haji Mubarak Mumuni II, reminded that Islam is a religion of universalism, tolerance, peace, and reconciliation. Hence, they must be guided by such in their actions. He was speaking to Joy News during the Eid al-Adha prayers in Petoi.
Eid al-Adha, the festival of sacrifice, is the second major Muslim festival after Eid al-Fitr, which marks the end of Ramadan, the month of fasting. It also marks the end of Hajj, a 5-day pilgrimage all able-bodied and financially capable Muslims are obliged to undertake once in their lifetime. The Petoi Chief Imam, Al-Abdul Rahman, led believers of the Islamic faith to say the Eid al-Adha prayers at the Customs Exercise and Preventive Training Academy Park to signify the day. In his sermon, he entreated Muslims to continue to uphold the values of Islam.
Islam means peace. God have 99 names. He choose one of his name and make his religion, who's Salam, who's Islam. Islam means peace. So we need peace in our community to have a development. Where there's no peace, there won't be development. When there's development, everybody will enjoy, and then there's no problem. If you see people facing problems because there's no development, when we come together and then make one, so people will feel coming here. When people feel coming here, we see development. When we see development, we feel enjoyment.
The Petoi Zongo chief, Al-Mubarak Mumuni II, called for unity to prevent evil-minded people from infiltrating the community to cause violence.
And we always have to advocate for peace. We must ensure that peace prevails in our community. You know, people always think that Muslims are, let's say, they cause mayhem or they are problematic in a community, but that is not the case. Islam teaches us to be peace. Islam itself is peace. Yes, so as you know, this community falls between the Togo land and then some areas where, you know, it's very easy for people, if I say people, I mean bad people, to penetrate into the country to cause mayhem. So that's why I always sound caution to my youth to be vigilant of such people.
Do not do anything that will occasion the peace. Don't associate with any activity or act that will disturb the peace we are enjoying in Ghana. Because if something should happen here, have you thought of where you'll be going to? The neighboring countries are having their issues, and so they will not allow you to come to them. Do you understand? So please, I am appealing, using this platform to appeal to you. Let us do what is right by maintaining the peace in Ghana.
Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News, Petoi.
Chief Imam of Al-Hasuna, Wal Jama in Techiman, has admonished politicians to stay away from beating war drums in the build-up to the 2024 general election. The Imam, who was speaking on the sidelines of the Eid al-Adha prayers in Techiman, also cautioned Muslim youth against being involved in violence acts and advised them to stay away from massing up at collation centers with the aim of perpetrating violence on election day. Anas Sabit has more.
The celebration of Eid al-Adha festival is to commemorate Prophet Abraham's devotion to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as well as his readiness to sacrifice his son Ismail. At the very point of that sacrifice, the Almighty Allah replaced Ishmael with a ram. Muslims have since been obliged to, slaughter such animals as an obedience to the Almighty Allah. And today, at the Jacko Community Day Senior High School's field, where members of al-Sunnah al-Jama'ah within the Techman municipality observed this day, the municipal Imam Idris Suleiman has been cautioning, Ghanaians in general to stay away from beating war drums as we lace our boots ahead of the electioneering season. He says such moves is capable of, bringing chaos across the country. Let's listen to what the Imam has been saying in relation to this development.
My message for the Muslims is that this country is the only country that we have, and we cannot go to anywhere apart from here. So I'm appealing to the public that nobody should do anything that will bring any riots in this country. Because, we have old ladies, old men who are in rooms, they are in their rooms. If we are running away, they cannot run away. So I'm also appealing to the political parties. Those beating war drums should stop. They should stop beating that war drums and then do their clean campaign. We should campaign. Anybody who wins the election will be given chance to rule the country. So nobody should beat any war drum.
He also sent a word of caution, particularly to Muslim youth ahead of the elections. He says, Muslims should stay away from involving or engaging themselves into acts of violence. He said, the youth should stay away from collating at the various coalition centers during, chaos. A move, he said, wouldn't be able to change whatever is expected to happen at the said centers.
When they say there is trouble somewhere, you go there, you see that it is Muslim boys, the youth, who are bringing that troubles. I'm appealing to you that you shouldn't do what you are not concerned. It is not your business, don't do it. It isn't your business going to the coalition center to do. If you do anything, if you go there, they won't give you pen to write. So don't go there. So this is what I'm appealing to the youth. You shouldn't do that. When somebody is saying that maybe they are going to cheat us, and you are going, if you go there, you can't change anything. So don't go there. This is my advice to the youth.
So this is what we've gathered here at the Jacko Community Senior High School's field, where members of al-Sunnah al-Jama'ah observed this year's al-Adha. For Joy News, my name is Anas Sabit, reporting.
This is still the Joy News Today with me, Carlos Calone. We'll take a short break. We'll return with business. Please stay.
Welcome back. It's now time for business. My name is Winston Taki, and now to our first business story. More donors have kick-started the process to release more funding and technical support to Ghana. This is what Joy Business has picked up from the country's development partners following an agreement reached with the official creditor committee on debt restructuring. My colleague George Wiafe has more.
The move has been influenced by progress made by securing an agreement with the bilateral creditors through the official creditor committee and progress made under the IMF program in terms of meeting those critical targets. It has also been influenced by reports that the economy is recovering far better than what the IMF had projected under the program. This should mean that Ghana is now in a better position to meet its debt obligations going forward. The World Bank has even started fast-tracking the process to release more project funding to Ghana. Some analysts have even indicated that the development could also trigger other private businesses to move in their funds after the Domestic Action Program and negotiations with creditors forced them to freeze any transactions into the country.
Now, commercial banks say they are yet to fully recover from the debt exchange program shock, despite strong earnings posted for last year. Some of the banks have posted record profit for last year, with some seeing profit cross 1 billion cedis for the first time. Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Association of Banks, John Ewa, maintains that the high non-performing loans still remains the biggest threat to most banks.
Several factors that work against the banks when it comes to recovery of distressed assets. Our legal system or the judicial system doesn't help with recovery. If you took a bad loan or a customer who has a bad account or a bad loan to the courts, the way the court system can play the bank, seeing the bank as though we are vultures trying to kill the borrowers. Meanwhile, the people who have defaulted and the bank is just taking steps to recover, and you find that you'll be tossing them from court 1 to court 2, court 3. By the time you enter execution, the underlying asset that will help you to recover is almost gone. Land administration is another problem. Of course, the environment also doesn't help, given where interest rates are. If you borrow right now at 35% or let's say 30%, what kind of business are you going to do to be able to return sufficient profit to pay off your finance costs? It's a very difficult environment that the banks operate in. Yes, the credit risk environment within the banks needs some fine-tuning as well. I know that banks have taken steps to ensure that the rigor around loan sanctioning is also improved. But generally, the credit culture in the country is very bad. It's terrible. I mean, I'm sure you have examples where even friends and family members have come to you for sometimes as little as 1,000 cedis and you have become the enemy, though you are the one who lent the support. It's the same people who come to the bank. The same people who, we give 500, 2,000 here, even Momo. You say, oh, don't transfer to my Momo account because I've borrowed. They don't want to pay. That same culture is what, the same people are the people who come to the banks to borrow. So that tendency that, I can just default and there will be no proper consequences because I can hide under the cover of the courts and the lawyers playing the banks, it doesn't help.
That's all for business here on Newsdeck. My name is Winston Taki. We have more news for you after this break. Stay tuned.
Good afternoon, you're welcome to the Showbiz segment with me, Jacqueline and Suma Yabua. Now to our first story, Skyface SDW, the maxi member of the Asaka music group, has finally unmasked his true identity, marking a new era in his music career. Now the young rapper who has been hiding behind a mask for 5 years has launched his Menace 2 album and is ready to take the music industry by storm.
Skyface SDW's journey to this pivotal moment has been marked by significant milestones. In 2023, Apple Music recognized his talent, naming him the first artist to be featured in its App Nest Artist Development Program in Ghana. This weekend, he unveiled his face to the fans for the first time, marking a significant chapter in his career.
Yeah, I mean, in everything that we do in this world, there are advantages and disadvantages. I came up with that, bro, you've done it now. 5 years, you've left a mark. So why don't you let them know that this is... I'm not done with the branding. I'm still with the mastering. But it's just to show my fans that, yo, this is the guy behind it.
But don't you think the max off will change the Skyface brand, or?
Yeah, in some way, it will. But as I keep on working hard, still putting in the Skyface effort and be myself still. Yeah, I think that they'll get used to it.
The event was a celebration of his growth and evolution of the Asaka journey, attended by fellow Asaka Boys member was J Bad, who was there to show his support.
More like family, we grew up together from the same hood.
As Skyface steps into the spotlight unmasked, fans and critics alike are eager to see how this bold move will influence his music and the trajectory of his career. Is this the new dawn of an era for Skyface SDW? The beat goes on. For Joy News, I am Jacqueline and Suma Yabua.
With me, Jacqueline and Suma Yabua. Over to Carlos.
You see Didi there?
I know, right? He's going through a lot, by the way. Yeah, last week his honorary degree was taken away from him by Howard University, and there are still series of suits that are still coming up. Yeah.
Will he be able to go through this successfully?
I'm not sure. It's just similar to our Kelly's issue. Well, fingers crossed. Let's see how he's able to pull through
Great.
this.
We'll keep our eyes on that. And that's all we have. You can log on to myjoyonline.com for more stories. My name is Carlos Kaloni. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great afternoon.